So today, I want to just quickly go over how I'm going to introduce target training. So, you know, I've done a reasonable amount of clicker training with Naz now, and this is kind of the next behaviour I need to add in that's going to help us with some other behaviours in the future. So it doesn't matter too much what you use as a target. I've got a bandage, it's nice and bright, good girl. You can stick it on, good girl, on a pole or on a whip or something like that if you want, which is what I normally do. But today, just to introduce it, I'm just going to use it in my hand. So obviously she knows the basic behaviours. She's a little bit frisky today, the sun's out and the rugs are off and they're feeling good about themselves. So she might be a little bit more agitated. So I'm just going to spend a minute doing some of the basic behaviours. Oh, you dropped it. Yeah. Just kind of try and get her to remember what she's meant to be doing. Good girl. And the boys are playing next door as well, which isn't very helpful. Good girl. So I'm just going to very gradually start to introduce this, and basically I want her, whenever she touches it and she's interested in it, good girl, click and reward. It's as simple as that. So make it really easy to start with, so it's nice and close. Good girl. What are you doing with your lips? So I'm trying to make it as interesting as possible for her, so when she wants to, good girl, wants to touch and wants to kind of investigate, but I'm not holding it miles out of her range, good girl, to make it not worth it for her to start with. Good girl. Touch. Touch. I'm quite sure. Good girl. Even if they only touch it a little bit, and if you've got something that's maybe scared of it, then even if they just look towards it, it is a good start. She's a little bit, she's not as calm today as she can be sometimes. Good girl. Let's say they're all a little bit on their toes today. The nice weather. She's had a bit of a good girl, a bit of a run around already. She had her breakfast. Good girl. Keep dropping them because you're being so crazy. Okay. And if you have got something that's really, you know, more so than her, a bit over aroused by food, you can do this in the stable. You can put them in the stable and you can be over the stable door, similarly to how I started the with the tennis ball with Sunny. You know, he was in the stable, I was outside. Touch. Good girl. I'm just going to come around the other side. Good girl. I'm still making sure I'm still feeding away from her as I would do normally, and none of that's changed. Good girl. And if she does offer you some other behaviours, or they do offer you some other behaviours in between, like she's sort of going, okay, I can start to be in my own space a little bit more, good girl, and calm down a little bit, then you can take that as well. It doesn't have to be, we have to do this because you might frustrate them. Touch. Good girl. Once she has touched it, I'm kind of trying to move it out of the way a little bit to give her a reward, and then we go back. Touch. My arm. Touch this. My arm. Good girl. And you can be a little bit picky, you know, if she's kind of touching up here or she's touching your hand, you can kind of go, well actually I'd quite like it if you touch this and not something else. Touch. Good girl. Touch. Touch. Good girl. See if she'll come to it a little bit now. Touch. Good girl. Now I haven't got many treats, I just wanted to do 5 minutes and make a really quick video. Because for her, I'm going to probably use target training for teaching her how to lunge nicely and easily. So obviously we need this behaviour first. Good girl. Good. See, she's just, good girl. She kind of missed at the start then. You are all lips today, aren't you? Touch. Touch. Good. Good girl. Come on, touch. Good girl. Good. There we are, we're getting a little bit. Because I need her in the end to be able to follow it. So I might do some follow-up videos on how you get to that stage, because it's a little bit different than teaching what is effectively a stationary target. You want them to follow it. Touch. Touch. Good. Will you? Good girl. I don't think she's going to drop any today, Nova. Sorry. Come back on this side. We'll see if she'll follow it down. Good. Touch. Good. Down here. Good. And you can see she's starting to go, well, I know I need to touch it now, so wherever it is. Touch. Good. I'm trying to make it easier, so I turned it round then. To make it easier for her to touch the bandage rather than my hand. Come down here. Good girl. You know, and you and your big lips, calm down. Very exciting, these treats. Touch. Good girl. Touch. Good. Right. B. No. Yeah. She hasn't got control of her lips very well today. Touch. Touch. Good girl. Yeah, it might be that to start with you've got to stay really close to them. If they're not that interested, you might have to make it a little bit more interesting and kind of sometimes, you know, kind of put it right next to their nose and get them to accidentally touch it before they realise. Good girl. But you see, she's kind of, you know, it's on. She's quickly picked up that, I know, wherever it goes, she needs to kind of follow it. So it's a nice fun little exercise to do with them. It does have practical uses in the future for loading practice or, you know, stationary targets. Obviously I've been using it with Sunny for the door kicking stuff. You know, you can use it for mounting block training, you can do body targeting later on, which can be good to teach lateral work. So it's more than just a bit of a gimmick. It does have those practical uses as well. And as I said, for her, I'm going to use it probably to teach her how to lunge without chasing her, because she's a bit more on the lazy side, or on the quiet side, I should say, believe it or not. You know, I don't want to have to be chasing her with a lunge line or a lunge whip, so I'll use the target instead to show her where I want her to go and what I want her to do, and gradually we'll wean that out. So for ones that are a bit difficult to lunge, it can be really, really helpful, can't it? All finished. And you know, 5 minutes is plenty to start with, and you can do it multiple times a day if you want to, or just once a day, and then you can not do it for a week or two and come back and do it again. It doesn't really matter. You know, the more you do it, the quicker you're gonna train that behaviour. The same for anything. But at the same time, if you don't get to do it day after day, it doesn't matter. We'll go on to how we're gonna get her to follow it next time.